Imagine not sleeping correctly for 1 year of your life. Imagine being so sleep deprived that you would go 5, 6, and 7 days only sleeping 1 or 2 hours. That's how bad things got for me. And I'm happy to say that I've been able to heal all of it. And that is the focus of this week's episode of The Higher Self. What we're going to do today is share with you how I was able to go from not being able to sleep. I mean, literally not being able to sleep to just the other night sleeping for the first time in 6 years, a full 8 hours. If you're a human being alive, I think that the information on this one is going to help you incredibly, not just energetically, but in your health and in your overall view of life. First, I want to start off with food. For most of my life, have struggled with some form of either, body shame issues or desire to have an ideal body. And quite frankly, what I actually didn't realize I was struggling with was the fear of just accepting myself for who I am. One of the most important things you'll realize on your journey of healing is how afraid you are of accepting yourself for who and how you are. And one of the ways in which that manifests is shame of how your body looks. The 3D world keeps us in a constant state of needing to chase this idea of a perfect body. Social media continuously shows us people who have a certain look. And yet the truth is that one day you wake up and realize that you will always be chasing something external until you decide to accept and love yourself for who you are. And until you do that, you will always be having issues with food. You'll always be having issues with looking at yourself in the mirror. You'll always have issues of looking on social media for someone to tell you the way that you should be eating. And the entire time you're doing that, you're never doing what you should be doing, which is listening to your body and understanding what it needs. And once you do that, and once you can finally understand what your body needs and you start prioritizing that, then you'll finally get to what is really important, which is true health, true peace of mind, and the true ability to relax into the essence of who it is that you are. And that was one of my biggest journeys. I realized that because of some unresolved issues that I had with body dysmorphia, I realized that I was constantly making food the bad guy. I'm very creative at doing this, quite frankly. I found so many different ways. And I want to start off just by sharing my journey with you so that hopefully it helps you on your journey and hopefully it saves you a lot of time and heartache. For me, everything started when I became vegan. Note, I am not telling you that being vegan is bad. I'm just here to share with you from my personal life experience. The idea or the notion of becoming vegan for me started when I started to go on my spiritual journey. Yes, of course, I see the pain and the suffering. I see the fear that the animals have to go through when they're killed. And yes, of course, I realize that energetically, we ingest this. And I will say that there's two different ways to go about this. I will say that there's regenerative farming and there's very healthy practices for doing this. And then there's what the 3D world is doing, which is, I believe, the mass slaughter of animals in a very disgusting way. Once you can get past all of that, and once you can really start to understand that your body just needs certain things to be able to function properly, I will say, time out, side note, there are a lot of vegans that have figured this out. What I am telling you is that every single time my mind thought that the great thing for me to do would be to stop eating animals and to go to becoming a vegan, I would notice how much that would have an impact on my sleep. My personal energetic makeup. I'm so much up here and then, yeah, many times in the spiritual world and in my ideas and in my thoughts that there's something about animal protein that it just grounds me. It just keeps me here on earth, you know? And many of you who have done and sat with plant medicine knows that that's one of the issues that you're going to face. One of the issues that you're going to face, which I think is a great issue to have, is once you sit with medicine, whether that be ayahuasca, cannabis, or mushrooms, you are now open, right? And when you are open, sometimes it's tough to like close it off. Sometimes it's tough to shut it down. What I realize is that, whenever I eat a balanced, nutritious meal, and three of them, that's another important thing that I'm going to discuss. I just find myself in a state where I'm just more easily able to relax when it comes to going to sleep. The second thing that I did was I started to implement fasting. And I'm going to share something with you that I don't think I've ever shared before. I started fasting because of my ego. Fasting for me was 100% ego driven. It made me feel like I was doing something that you are not doing. It made me feel like I was doing something that made me special. It made me feel like I was doing something that made me better than you. And all along, what I was doing was I was never listening to my body. I never stopped to ask my body, is this what you actually want for you? On the contrary, I did the opposite of listening to my body. I'm very headstrong. I'm very motivated. I'm pretty disciplined when I need to be. And so I was fasting at one point in time, 23 hours a day. And I thought it was for my health. But I got to be honest with you guys. It was 100% ego and fear. You see, at the time, I was dealing with the fear of death. And I started to look at different ways to be able to live a longer life. And this is when I found a diet that consisted of becoming a vegan, drinking an amino acid shake when you're breaking your fast, and fasting for 23 hours and only eating during a 1 hour window. Pause. Listen, this works for some people. I have friends that follow this diet. I know the creator of the diet looks incredible. Guy looks like a Greek god and he looks like he's going to live to 150. I'm just letting you know. In essence, when you read the work, it makes perfect sense. And I'm convinced it is an incredible diet. But that doesn't mean that it's meant to work for everybody. And what I finally had to come to grips with was that flat out, it just didn't work for my body. Guys, there were nights where I'm not kidding to you. There would be 4-day periods where I just wouldn't sleep for 4 or 5 days in a row. And I'm so headstrong and so disciplined that I would get up and I would lift the weights and I would do the thing. And I was killing myself. It's so crazy. When I look back, there would be moments I would get up out of bed and I would fall down on the floor and I would just wake up and wouldn't even realize how I got there. And underneath it all, the fear that I had of death was the thing that drove me to the diet. And as a result, what I was unconsciously doing was killing myself. That's how powerful fear is. Fear is so powerful that you will find ways to attract the very thing that you are afraid of. And you will never, ever be able to live a peaceful or abundant life until you heal the root cause of the fear. And I mean fearing anything, fearing illness, fearing disease, fearing death. fearing not being heard or not being seen, whatever it is that you're afraid of, I want to let you know that you can 100% heal all of it because you, in your essence, are not fear. You're the opposite. You're love. And so what started to happen was I would go back. I was so stubborn. I'm just a very stubborn human being. And I would judge myself based off of this perfect diet of fasting 23 hours and then drinking the shake and then eating within a 1 hour window and never eating animals. So many rules, so many restrictions that again, please listen to me, works for some people. And it got me ripped, guys. If you look back at pictures, I had an 8-pack. I was completely shredded, but I was completely unhealthy. Completely unhealthy. And I would go back and forth because I'm so stubborn in my mind that once I hear that something works, I want to get back to doing the thing that works, because I want to be the best and the highest version of myself. And yet this just happened a couple of weeks ago. I finally realized I went back to being vegan for 2 days. And in those 2 days, I didn't sleep again. And that's when I came across this podcast. And I want to actually send you over there so that you can look for this on your own. This is the Fitness and Lifestyle Podcast by Danny Kennedy. I don't know who this is. I've never met him. Danny, I will tell you publicly, your episode, Nutrition Made Easy, changed my life forever. Because what he did in this episode, what he helped me realize by placing a big fat mirror to me is that I had made food wrong. I made rice wrong, and I love rice. I made bread wrong, and I love bread. I made butter wrong. I made wine wrong. I made cookies wrong. I made everything wrong. And as a result of making everything wrong, there was an energy inside of me that just couldn't be happy with food. I was very restrictive with food. And what he helped me realize in this podcast was he said, listen, I want you to throw out the notion that food is bad. There's nothing wrong with absolutely anything that you eat. The truth is anything that you consume is just energy. Energy in, energy out. So the first thing you got to do is you got to identify how much energy you need to consume just to survive, just your bare baseline, right? And then the second thing you've got to do is you've got to understand that if you want to lose some weight, all you have to do is consume less than what is required. Now, mind you, he talks about counting calories in his in My Fitness app. This is stuff that I used to do back in the day, and I promised myself that I never would. But then I thought to myself, he said something that made a lot of sense, this guy. He says, listen, your body is like a business. And in a business, you want to keep track of the numbers. In the business, you want to keep track of what's coming in and what's going out to make sure that you're profitable. Your body is the exact same way. Why wouldn't you keep track of what you're eating so that you could know if you're eating enough or not? And when I finally started to do this, guys, I started to realize that I've been starving myself for the better half of 6 years. I wasn't eating anywhere close to the amount of calories that my body needed in order to feel at rest. And you know what's interesting? Most of the people that I come across that have issues with sleep all have told me at one point or time or another that they are not eating the amount of food that they should be eating. And yet, I don't even think that they're aware of it. I sure as heck wasn't aware of it. You see, now I'm thinking of my body like I think of my kids, like I think of a baby. I want to think of my body like a baby. And I want to give my body whatever it needs to feel comfortable, whatever it needs to feel love, whatever it needs to feel seen, whatever it needs to perform and be at an optimum level, whatever it needs to live life. And I will no longer listen to anyone else's ideas about what to eat or what not to eat. The only one that you should be listening to is yourself. And so the first thought that is going to help you tremendously with your sleep is, do you really know how many calories you need to eat? Are you aware of the fact that you may or may not be eating the amount of food that your body needs just to survive? And if not, I highly recommend this podcast because this guy's an expert at it. Danny Kennedy, the fitness and lifestyle podcast, Nutrition Made Easy. It changed my life. I think it's going to change yours. I'm not getting paid to say this. It's just something that genuinely helped my life and hopefully will help yours as well. Second is breathing. The way you breathe will drastically have an impact on your life and, yes, your sleep. I started to realize that when I was sleeping, I would wake up in the middle of the night to constantly go to the bathroom. I thought that was normal, but I remember back to when I was a teenager and I never used to do that before. I also started to notice that I would wake up in the middle of the night with a really dry mouth and I'd have to go get some water. And I just started thinking that all of this stuff was normal. And one day I came across this podcast that changed my life, High Intensity Health by Mike Mutzel. Again, I don't know him. I don't know the podcast. I'm not being paid to say this. I genuinely believe this podcast changed my life. And ultimately, all I'm here to do is help you to change yours as well. The episode was called How My Mouth Tape Can Transform Your Sleep. It was interesting that he started mentioning all of the symptoms of mouth breathing. And I had all of them. I was waking up constantly to urinate. I was waking up constantly to need a sip of water. I was waking up constantly with dry mouth. And what happens is as you're living life, you just start to think that these things are normal. And when I heard someone finally tell me that not only was it not normal, it was dangerous for your health, because the last symptom that I got used to living with was in the middle of the night, my heart would just start like murmuring and like skipping some beats and like getting overactive. Guys, I'll be honest, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought like, what the heck? Like maybe I'm getting sick, but I know I can't get sick. It was just really weird time. And in this podcast, he mentions that all of it is connected to one thing, and that's mouth breathing. Now, with that being said, I want to introduce these guys, Hostage Mouth Tape. Listen, they are not paying me to share this with you. They don't even know that I'm sharing this with you. But about 3 months ago, they sent me a bunch of mouth tape to just try. This is the actual mouth tape, and they sent me some of this stuff plus the nose tape, which you may have seen Alex Hormozy wears all the time, this thing on his nose. You might think he's dumb. I'm telling you right now, the guy is onto something. I had this stuff for about 3 months, and quite honest with you, I was a little bit afraid because I have sleep issues. I was afraid of doing this. I thought, what if I don't breathe in the middle of the night? On the contrary, the opposite thing happened. Guys, this thing has changed my life and Jen's life forever. We now, every single night, both of us put on our nose tape, put on our mouth tape, and the craziest thing happens, guys. It's like your body is supposed to be breathing through the nose. Think about a baby when they're breastfeeding. A baby naturally breathes through the nose. And yet we have become accustomed to breathing through the mouth. And as a result of this, it has caused us a host of health issues that we are so unaware of, so much so that we think they're normal. And I'm here to let you know that that was me. And ever since that we started putting on some mouth tape, which I'm sure there's other companies that do this. You can go Google them or search them. I have zero affiliation. All I'm going to tell you is that ever since I started putting on tape over my mouth and the nose strip over my nose, and Jen as well, our sleep has improved incredibly. If you are, as I took a deep breath through my mouth, as you're breathing through your mouth while you're sleeping, please listen to me. This is going to have a drastic effect on your heart, on your sleep, on your health, and on your life. I cannot stress enough, go get some mouth tape ASAP. And again, I have no financial benefit from any of this other than your well-being, which is all I want. Please go look into this because it'll change your life forever. In order to not miss these episodes or the weekly clips that we provide that will help you in the 3 energies of human mastery, how to change your financial life, how to change your relationship life, and how to heal yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually, make sure to subscribe right now to the channel. Trust me, it'll be the greatest decision and action you take today because the value we are committed to bringing you is going to be life-changing. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Third is vitamin D, magnesium, and hydration. Again, I cannot stress enough to you how important these things are. Many of you live in parts of the world where the sun isn't even shining right now. I'm Hispanic, I'm Latin. And so my people, I come from the Dominican Republic, Colombia, and Ecuador. All of those areas are very tropical, and all of those areas, the sun is always out. In the Dominican Republic, it is, I believe it's 87 degrees year round, like it doesn't ever change. And, sometimes here in Austin, for example, we can go weeks without seeing the sun. And you have no idea how important vitamin D is to you. And so I take a vitamin D product from Kono. You just go to kononutrition.com. I love it because it's easy, it's clean, and as always, their products are impeccable when it comes to ingredients. It's created from olive oil. And not only do I take it, Aaron, my youngest son, takes it, and Selena even started taking it. She loves it. She literally would just put a little drop under her tongue and she just says more, more, and she just wants more of it. I love it because it's just so easy and it's just part of my routine now. Every morning I wake up, I take my little droplet of vitamin D, and that's it. It's game over, and I know that I'm getting the vitamin D requirements that my body needs. Go look up and research for yourself the importance of vitamin D and K12 and how it affects your sleep and your health. And trust me when I say, you will go buy this stuff and live with it from now on. The second is hydration. We've spoken a lot about hydration. I can't stress enough. The water you're drinking right now is complete shit. You as a human being were not created to drink the water that you're drinking right now. You were created in beautiful, perfect flow to drink water from natural spring waters. I get all of our water delivered from a wonderful company called Alive Waters. I know one of the issues is that they only deliver in, I believe, Texas and California. So if you're in both of those states, go to alivewaters.com, check them out. You're going to absolutely love them. But it is water as it was meant to be. And one of the things I love about it is it comes in these beautiful crystal glass jugs with these geometric shapes that just infuses wonderful energy into the water. Yeah, I know that sounds very woo-woo and very healthy, but trust me, you will thank me for this. And finally, you got to be getting your electrolytes into you. Because the state of the water is so bad, if you're a human being alive today, you need electrolytes. And listen, I'm not going to hold any qualms about it just because of the fact that I'll put up Kono stuff against anybody's. I challenge you to do the same thing. A lot of these electrolytes have sugar and just have unnecessary items in them. And one of the things I love about the Kono product is the fact that it gets all of its electrolytes and all of its minerals from the sea, from natural resources. Again, for the vitamin D and the magnesium, go to kononutrition.com. If you use the code Danny, you'll save 10% off of your order. And if you just get on a subscription, which is the smartest thing to do, you'll save 25% on that. Obviously, I have an affiliate agreement with them. Feel free to just compare them with anybody else. You'll see very clearly they are the best supplement company in the world, point blank. And finally, I want to speak about healing. Healing a lot of the subconscious trauma that you have yet to heal. It's having a major impact on your life. And yes, it's having a major impact on your sleep. Just today we had a call. I'm coming off of leading our Awaken You members on a beautiful plant ceremony. And this morning happened to be our monthly meditation. And just from today, I want to share with you three things that were shared with me about the power of this healing journey. The first was a wonderful young lady that sent me a video message. She was a part of our group, and she's just now realizing the impact that being a part of Inner Circle and Awaken You had on her life. So much so that she actually went on a dating app, and she sends me this message. She says, "I attracted the love of my life." And she says she realizes why is because she was always afraid to show up as her authentic self in relationship. And through all of the healing work that we did, she was finally able to become aware of that and heal all of that. And what I've told you guys over and over before on social media and even on this podcast is your outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. And so when you heal some of the blockages that are happening inside of you, you'll heal the outside world. You'll heal literally your money, your relationships, and yes, even your body, which is a reflection of the exterior. The second was a beautiful share of a woman who realized that she never felt safe with her father. And as a result of never feeling safe with her father, she has a very unhealthy relationship with money. She makes a lot of money, but the way in which she provides safety now for herself is to hold on to and restrict the money. These are moments of profound, profound awareness. These are moments that do not come to you and really hit you in your core unless you go deep within yourself and journey into the depths of yourself to discover them. And it's what she did last night in the plant medicine ceremony and then today in the meditation. And she realized how she's been blocking herself from not only financial abundance, but financial peace all along because of the wounding that she received from her father, the wounding that she received in her masculine energy, a wounding that has been inside of her for so long, she's not even aware of how to live life without it. And this is the power of healing, because so many of us are walking around with stress around relationships and stress around finances. And that stress impacts not only our health, but also, yes, our sleep. Finally, I'm thinking about our wonderful friend Rachel, who's been a part of our community for so long. She participated in the plant ceremony yesterday and in today's meditation, and she realized that she is literally addicted to constantly causing self-sabotage in her relationship. And the way that she's been doing this is by constantly picking at her partner and calling out things that the partner is not doing right. And she says, I've never realized that that's actually me. It's actually me that is seeing everything that is wrong, so I could constantly be in a state of fighting and arguing with my partner. Why? Because her deepest fear is our deepest fear. Your deepest fear is love. Your deepest fear is what life would look like when you calm the chaos that is constantly happening in your mind. Your deepest fear is your truest power and living your life in complete peace and abundance. Peace and abundance that is only available when you heal all of the remnants of fear that are in your life, and you heal all of the remnants of separation from oneness with God, separation from oneness with yourself, and separation from everyone outside of you. All of the grudges that you hold, all of the people that you're angry with, all of the people that you resent, even the people that you hate, who you're actually judging, resentful towards, and hate is yourself. because they are just a reflection of you. And your deepest fear in life is what would happen if you finally allowed yourself to let go of all of it, because you've been so used to it that you're addicted to it. You're addicted to constantly being in struggle. You're addicted to constantly being in arguing, addicted to constantly being in a state of fighting with the world. Your deepest fear in life is what happens when you let go of all of the struggle, all of the resentment, all of the judgment. What you're actually afraid of is living life without it. Because what would be left? Peace, love, and a complete acceptance of who you are and everything that life is. And you haven't been in that state since you were born out of your mother's womb. And that's why you're afraid of it. Because you're afraid of the unknown. And so as you go into 2025, the most important thing that you can do for your life, for your children's life, for your parents' life, for the life of anyone that you love, is to go on a healing journey, is to go deep into yourself and become aware of all of the things that you unconsciously have been holding on to you that are blocking you from the life that you want. And once you're aware of them, to go on the journey of healing them, releasing them, and yes, forgiving them. And once you release them and forgive them, then you could start the process of transforming your life and deciding what it is that you want from your life. No longer from a place of fear, but from a place of love and abundance. And get ready, because once you get to that place, get ready for everything in life to be effortless. If anyone has ever told you that forgiveness is not a part of healing, they're wrong. My challenge to you is go look at anyone on social media that has ever told you that forgiveness is not a necessary part of healing, and just look into their eyes. Look at their face. And ask yourself this question. As they're saying those words, as they're saying the words, I don't forgive, I don't need to forgive, just look and feel at the energy and ask yourself, what do you feel? Do you feel peace? Do you feel love? Do you feel connection to the divine? I can guarantee you, you cannot feel any of those things when you're in a state of unforgiveness. Because the only thing that would not allow someone to forgive someone else is the fear of the mind, the ego that has been created to keep you safe and uses the frequency of fear to do so. And everything you have ever wanted in life is on the other side of that fear. See, the reason why you've been told that forgiveness is not necessary is because forgiveness requires the ultimate level of sacrifice, surrender, and courage from a human being. And as a result, forgiveness offers you one of the most beautiful gifts that a human being can ever receive. If you're ready to begin the journey of discovering those deep blockages and traumas that are yet to be resolved, I'd love to guide you on a beautiful process of doing just that. Go to dannymorel.com/discover me and register for our free workshop that's going to take you deep into healing your masculine and feminine energy in a very profound way. And so, my friends, I know that we went a little deep today. I thought about doing this podcast because I had such a moment of profound Shit, guys, love for life. The other night when I slept for 8 hours straight, and I thought to myself, if there's one human being out there that is struggling with sleep, I want to do this episode because if it helps one person, I know what it feels like to not be able to sleep, and I know what it feels like when you finally can. There's no greater feeling on earth than that feeling. If this podcast and this episode was beneficial to you, I'd love to hear it because it's something that's definitely different. It was on a specific subject. And I'd love to see your comments, whether you're on Spotify listening to us or YouTube. Leave the comments. And I'd love to see if you got some value from this one. And if you did, as always, leave a like, leave your comments, subscribe and follow on both Spotify and YouTube. And I cannot wait to see you next week on another episode of The Higher Self.